So 56 years ago, we get an absolutely very interesting discussion in between Jarl and King Harold. And they are talking about Galila. For some reason, that name showed up in the latest chapter of One Piece, and we're here to talk about it. So after King Harold made it out of the reverie, because he was at a reverie that he sneaked to, so that he can talk to different kings and to the world government and all of that. After all of that episode kind of happened at the reverie, and after a marine admiral also got killed, not gonna say who, but we get Yaru, and he's saying, do you know about a crew called Galila? And everybody's like, oh, what? We know Galila. Galila is usually something called Galila Company, which is in Water 7. And it's a company that got created by Icebark 7 years ago in the One Piece world, of course. And basically, Galila Company is the assembly of all of the other shipwright companies that used to exist in Water 7. And you understand, Water 7 is standing up for 7 shipwrights. So basically 7 of them combined into making the Galila Company. But the name Galila Company in Water 7, we don't know where it actually comes from. So maybe it's got some ties to the Galila shipwrights from back in the day. And in this latest chapter of One Piece, we understand that Jarl is saying that back in the day, he received a letter, and that letter said that all of the members of the Galila shipwrights got captured by somebody, and that somebody we don't know. Jarl doesn't know, but from perspective, from guesses, from opinions, he's probably guessing on the world government, you know? And in the latest chapter of One Piece, King Harold is saying that it's a crew of massive shipwright brutes, the hammer-wielding warriors. And to him, it feels like it was more of a legend than an actual people. But Jarl is saying that no, they were actually pretty real, pretty alive and well. And they all at some point went to the sea and went somewhere to construct something or whatever. And from their adventures, they got captured. And that's how Jarl got a letter back in the day saying that all of them, they actually got captured. Captured by who? Just like I said, we don't know yet. But let's ask us 2 questions of where did they get captured and when did they get captured? Because up to where, I can guess something. Hear me out. The only place where we got the same name is Water 7. And in Water 7 now we have Galila Company. Maybe that name came from some ancient paperwork or something that Icebark found, and that's how he made the new name of all of the companies that were there, Galila Company. Maybe. And that's, in a way, a very interesting place, because at the same time, the only other place in the One Piece world where we know there's a hole basically in the ocean is right next to Water 7 in Enies Lobby, where the world government constructed and the Marines constructed that whole base in a way on top of that hole basically. So that's my guess. I am guessing that maybe, just maybe, they got smited a long time ago, and that's how there's a hole, and maybe that's how they got captured. You know, that's my guess. And now to the question of when did they get captured, and when did Jarl get the letter actually, that I would probably say that from here, Jarl is actually like what, 350 years or so. So in 350 years back, that's our timeline. And in that timeline, it can be in between like 300, it can be like 200 years or something. So I'm basically gonna say that when did they get captured? It was maybe a little bit after that Marie-Joie got attacked by Emmet, the giant robot. And maybe at that point, they were like, yeah, we need to do something. We need to find some power and get protected and whatever. And that's why Im maybe ordered somebody to go and catch those giants so that they can research on them or something. So when did Jarl get the letter? I'm gonna guess a little bit after Emmet, you know, just like I said, invaded Marijua, so 200 years around there. And so just like I said, maybe Im was trying to get the power of the giants or something like that, and that's how they maybe all went to any, like they all got captured or whatever, they all went to Enies Lobby or something like that, they got smited. Or maybe they just happened to go all to Enies Lobby and then they got smited or something. After that, they just picked them up and took them to, for example, Punk Hazard, because that's my guess of where those giants are. And in the latest chapter, of course, Yarrow is also saying that those giants were in something frozen or whatever. And from just literally that hinge, I've always been saying that in Punk Hazard, once the Straw Hats are walking in the lab, for example, at some point in one of the labs, they come up on a room where everybody's like, wait, hold on, what's going on in there? What the hell? How come that underneath the Straw Hats' feet, basically everything is frozen underneath them, and underneath them you can also see that there's a lot of giants everywhere in the lab underneath them. So that's my guess, guys. I believe that those Galila shipwright brutes are basically the ones who got captured somewhere, and I'm saying that they got captured maybe in Enies Lobby, that's why there's that hole in there, and then they got transported all the way to Punk Hazard, and they did some research on them for gigantification purposes, where Im-sama at that point can just come to anybody, just put that needle in them, and poof, make him into a giant or something, you know? And that is, in a way, a very powerful move from Im if he's actually able, or she is actually able to control the power of gigantification in a way, you know? At the same time, I also wanted to talk about something. I wanted to talk about their role, because in here it says that they are the massive shipwright brutes. But from the word shipwrights, we understand that maybe, just like the theory goes, if they actually were able to go to Water 7 and do some stuff over there, and maybe that was their base before and they were doing some shipwrighting over there, maybe they have something to do with Pluton. Maybe they have something to do with one of the ancient weapons, you know? Maybe they were the ones that brought the blueprints into Water 7 for some reason. Maybe they were the carriers of those of that information, and they also maybe knew how to make it, and that's why they chose maybe Water 7 as their base to actually construct it, and then we'll see. But the theory is that Galila, back in the day, 200 years ago, after Emmett's attack on Marijua, Im-sama and his crew or whatever decided to start moving around and doing some shit, and that's why they decided to go see the giants that were out there. They got maybe rounded in Enies Lobby, boom, got smited, regrouped, went to took them to a Punk Hazard, started doing some research on them, just to try and get that power out of them, you know? And to the relationship to the Asian weapon, please let me know, guys, in the comments below. How do you think that relationship is? And because I'm having a little issue just trying to see how that all works, so help me out in the comments below. And don't forget, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Very important, guys, for the growth of this channel. So go ahead. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. Peace.